In our last video on Debbie and Oussama, Oussama bin Laden had the worst poetry debut we've ever seen in reality TV history.
Your words are deeply like the Bible. Touch me, hold my bones.
Ooh, you suck!
Push that baby in there at an angle. Think geometry.
That's what she said.
I got the Debbie fever real bad. She's got to be the cutest woman we've seen on this reality TV show. She reminds me of Tanya from The White Lotus.
Wow. Who the man? Who the man? Who the man in charge? Yeah.
It's so sad from a viewer standpoint because you can tell that Oussama finds Debbie annoying and he's not acknowledging her goofy energy when I feel like any other guy would love if their partner acted like a goofball and hypes them up in a weird way.
You large and in charge, Oussama.
If a girl I was talking to told me that I was large and in charge, I would literally turn around and say, "You're clean," and then I would lick her face, or I'd pick her up and tell her she's cute and kiss her. It's like his reaction was so underwhelming. Every time I watch Oussama, it's like I'm having a Mugatu moment because he doesn't appreciate how supportive of a partner Debbie is. Not to mention, she also has the dopest transmogs in the 90-day verse. She showed up to the tell-all looking like she raided Elton John's closet, and we're gonna get to reviewing the drama at the tell-all, but we have to go in order. Right now, her transmog is especially spicy because it's got a giant gem. Look at what's around her neck. That might be the biggest crystal I've ever seen. In our last episode, we took a gander at Oussama's lackluster poetry. He actually thinks he's so good at poetry that he doesn't need to get a job, which is comical because if he was ranked in poetry, he'd be Iron 5. We'll talk about the skinny little cross-eyed kid's poetry later in this video. Right now, let's take a look at the heart of the ocean that's around Debbie's neck. What that neck do, Debbie? I'm sure having a heavy stone like that really trains those neck muscles. Debbie's a 67-year-old woman from Sugar Hill, Georgia that idealizes love and sees her relationship with Oussama as a cure for her life's biggest problem, loneliness. Right now, Debbie and Oussama are driving in the car and she admits to the audience that she's very nervous because today's the day when she's meeting his family for the first time. Debbie then informs the audience that her biggest concern is what his parents are gonna think about the age difference because it's thick. This is not 10 years, 20 years. They have a 43-year age difference. Forget about MILF manner, this is GILF manner.
It's the big age difference. You know, I'm thinking they're gonna think I'm some terrible American trying to steal their son.
Wait, what? Why would they think that you're a terrible American woman trying to steal their son away? If anything, they probably want to give you their son so they can stop financially supporting him. Literally, the first episode we met this dude, he said that he doesn't want to work because hard work kills the creations. So instead of getting a job and financially being independent from his family, Oussama would rather write poetry and paint in his room and use an old lady to try to get to America. To be honest, when I see dudes like Oussama with the delusions that America is the land of plenty, I want to let them in our country so that they can see how hard it is to build a good life here. It's also funny because he paints on a 3rd grade level and he writes poetry on a brain dead level. So for him to think that he can make any money by selling his art in the States is jokes.
They don't think how old are you, they don't think about how you look like, they think about what's in her and what's in the mind.
I hope it's true.
Not the luck.
Oussama goes on to tell Debbie that his mother doesn't talk much because she's shy. He also says to Debbie not to worry because every father and mother wants a future for their child.
Does your mom and dad know I'm moved here permanently now?
To be honest, I don't tell them.
You didn't tell them?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I want you to tell them.
Oh, you want me to tell them?
Yep.
Wow, what a loaded situation this man just placed his fiance in. This is her first time meeting his family, and he wants her to tell them this news, and he's laughing about it like a little kid. This just feels incredibly immature to me. You should want your parents and your fiance to get along. You should want them to like each other. This is starting out on the wrong foot.
Oh, God, thanks a lot for the warning, man. It's like we're here, and it's like you didn't tell them, like that Miss Debbie's coming with the army of suitcases to be here permanent.
Just about the only lesson that their segment taught me is that if a man has a smile that looks like Smeagol when he transformed into Gollum, you don't enter a relationship with him. Debbie says to the audience that she's already nervous enough to meet Oussama's family for the first time, so for him to dump this on her is really inconsiderate. Oussama then communicates to Debbie that she doesn't have to tell his parents right away, but eventually he would like for her to tell them, which is just avoiding responsibility because at the end of the day, he should be the one to tell his family the good news. Their entire segment feels like an advertisement for why to not date Oussama. Like, let's take physical appearance out of it because he's not the best looking dude. The way that he treats a partner is like a second mother instead of someone that you would want to build a life and grow together with. When you're in a relationship with someone where you're both giving each other that love and that devotion and you're building up each other and you're hyping up each other's dreams, you're gonna make each other better. If you're with an energy vampire that just wants to take things from you in a relationship, it's gonna stunt your growth and you're gonna feel very resentful and eventually the relationship is going to fail.
What did I get myself into?
Follow me. Don't worry and follow me.
Just put a bag over my head.
Okay.
He said okay to her putting a bag on her head. Oussama goes on to tell Debbie that she should smile because her smile is everything. So he makes up for it with a compliment, but I also don't like that he said okay when she said that she should put a bag on her head. That's when you turn around and say, no babe, you're gorgeous. I want to eat that butt. You look good, girl. You know, you want to gas your partner up, especially when she's feeling a little, you know, what's the word? I don't know, like down on herself. What's the word for that? Fuck. Insecure. Anyways, as Debbie and Oussama are walking up the stairs, we see his sister and his mother preparing tea in the kitchen. Wow, it turns out that Oussama's family prepared quite the spread of nuts, dates, tea, cookies, yum yums.
Hey, let's go.
Hi.
The whole family gets up and greets Debbie. His sister Asma gives Debbie a hug. His mother Fatima gives Debbie a kiss on the cheek. And the father gives Debbie a crisp handshake. After meeting her man's family for the first time, she says, they're smiling, they look normal.
I was very nervous, very nervous.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We are so a little bit nervous too.
Yeah.
Oussama's sister speaks really good English, the parents not so much, so it gets radio silent, and Oussama's father takes this as an opportunity to start pouring the tea, and Debbie starts fangirling over his tea pouring technique.
Wow, it's beautiful. You pour.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
Moroccan tea.
Look at that. Special. Wow, your dad's cool.
I told you.
You learn from your daddy.
Yep.
Always act like daddy. Good man, okay? Okay.
You always learn from daddy. Ha ha ha. It's like she's talking to a caveman for a second there. Right away, Oussama's mother looks like she doesn't approve of Debbie at all. I think she's trying to play it off and seem respectful, but you can tell from her facial expressions that the relationship that Debbie and Oussama have makes her feel really uncomfortable. Debbie expresses to Oussama's family that she's feeling very appreciative that they welcomed her into their home, and then tries to convince them that she has good intentions in this relationship. Debbie goes on to tell his family that at first, her and Oussama's age difference was something that was very difficult for her to accept personally. But because of his heart and his words were beautiful, we had an unusual relationship and it's connected in art, honesty, and good intention. Debbie, honey, I hate to be that guy, but nobody asked. And this seems like a conversation that you should have with his family after a couple days of getting to know them. Yo, what up, King? What up? Hey. What's up? Is that brother? Sorry about that, guys. A buddy of mine wanted to go to the gym, so I got back, showered, and now let's continue reviewing Debbie and Oussama.
انا وياه زعما واحد العلاقه بشكل كيفاش هي كبيره وانا صغير. ياك واخا حنا نتفاهموا في ديك اللعبه ديال العصام وتنكتبوا فهمتوا بنا الخير بنا نديروا الخير وكذا.
Debbie's a really likable person, but I think she walked into this home with a lot of nervous energy, and she's the kind of person that can't have dead silence. She'll just ramble about anything, and I feel like she didn't make the best first impression with his family because she brought up so many loaded talking points. Instead of taking more time to get to know his parents as human beings, she has Oussama ask his parents what they think about their age difference.
How did they feel about the age difference? Did they feel bad like me at first about it? And
قلت لكم زعما شنو تيبان لكم في الفرق ديالي العمر ديالي والعمر ديالها.
At first, I'm sure they still feel the same way about it. Let's be real about it. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what your culture is. There is no parent alive that would have their first choice for their son to be a woman that is 67 years of age when their son is 24. Debbie's really likable, but she needs to be more cynical. If she was a Moroccan woman, this family wouldn't give her the time of day. However, because she's American, obviously the family believes that she can give the son a better life in America, which is why they're tolerating her.
هو اللي كيهم هو الانسان كيفاش يعني كيتفاهم من الناحيه الفكريه
We can all agree that a mental connection is certainly important. However, because of this huge age difference, this couple is at completely different points in their life. And other than age, Debbie is superior to this man in every other category. And perhaps I misspoke because I don't mean that Oussama's superior because he's younger. I just think that Debbie will date down because the age difference, or she's very insecure when it comes to her age in this relationship. And it makes me genuinely curious why you wouldn't just want to date someone more around your age that has had similar life experience, has a similar moral code. It's strange to me to watch a woman that has this many skills and has a lot going for her, looks very good for her age, to date a man that really doesn't have much going for him at 24 years of age. They haven't had one moment of passion on the show. We haven't even seen them kiss. So it seemed the whole time like they're more like friends, or he's like her caretaker. I don't think that they have a mental connection. I just think that they have a lot of hobbies in common. Debbie then says to the audience that she's so happy that his family accepts her and their age difference. And when she says this, I'm side-eyeing her because the family never said that they accept her or the age difference.
في الأول كان جاتني يعني غريبة.
The dad said that a mental connection is more important. He never gave her his blessing. He never said that he accepts this relationship. He said that he has no say in it because ultimately the decision for who his son wants to date is his decision. So it seems to me like the entire family's going along with it. I think that Oussama communicated that his mother's shy because she doesn't approve of this relationship, which is why this is the only meeting when we see the mother. The next time we see the father and the sister, the mother's not present. And I don't think it's because she's shy. I think it's because she wants nothing to do with this circus that's going on. A lot of us are starting to get more into spirituality, sticking and remaining in our own frame, leveling up as human beings. So I don't know about y'all, but for me, the past year has been my biggest growth period. So I couldn't imagine being 24 years old and dating someone that was 67 years old. I feel like the 67-year-old would be my healer, my teacher. Even though I matured at a pretty young age, I still think that there were a lot of immaturities that I had in relationships. So I feel like if I dated someone like that, it would be a lot of work for them to try and mold me to live up to my potential in a relationship, or the version of me that they know that I could become. The next day, we see a cute shot of Oussama playing with this cat, and fun fact, this is actually the only pussy he's played with in just about his entire life. And it's not because of lack of advancements. He is clearly the most eligible bachelor in all of Morocco. However, he was waiting for his one true love, Debbie. Bad news is that Debbie did not like her first night staying at Oussama's family's house. In fact, she says that she aged about 10 years.
And I look like I aged 10 years. You know, it's very primitive here. The bathroom downstairs, yes, it has a regular toilet, but they put upholstery on the toilet seat.
I wouldn't call an upholstery on a toilet primitive as much as itchy and annoying. And something that would really bother me is in the middle of the night when I get up to pee, I probably piss all over the upholstery. Debbie then says to the audience that she's been able to make do in third world countries, but this is make don't, honey. Debbie complains that the shower is like a hole in the ground with a gardening hose, and also that there's no arm rail on the staircase. Debbie's being a bit over dramatic here, especially because earlier she was so hype about living with his family in Morocco. Only after one night she starts to complain about what is lacking versus what she has in America. You should have had this man send you pictures of the property before you up and moved your entire life from America to Morocco. Oh my God, that's a huge moth. Sorry, I just saw Mothra from Godzilla pull up to my crib and I was like, whoa.
You know, your family's been extra special to me.
Thank you.
And I've got special gifts for everyone.
Really?
Hey, let's go. Good on Debbie not showing up empty-handed and bringing gifts for his family.
Okay, we go now. Let's go.
Hi, Dad. Good to see you.
Time out, Debbie. Huge red flag for you to call Oussama's dad. All right, you're not married to Oussama yet, and you're 1 year younger than this man. Now, positive Debbie did was she got the dad a very sentimental gift, which was canvases and drawing tools, because the dad's always enjoyed drawing and he used to draw all the time when he was in class.
He said like it's just a surprise for him because nobody bring us some gifts like for him before, and he feel happy.
This is good. And you're gonna paint me one special one for me.
How troll is it that Debbie got the dad a gift and then wants him to use his gift to make a gift for her?
أنا فرحان بزاف وسعيد بما أن أسامة غادي هاجر لأمريكا.
Well, hot diggity dog, there it is. He can't wait for Debbie to take his son to America. We knew what this was about the entire time. Oussama then translates to Debbie what his father just said, and her mood does a complete 180 because she previously communicated to Oussama that she fully intends on living with him and building a life with him in Morocco. He said okay, and he egged her on to do this because he thought that she wouldn't show up if that wasn't the plan. So he lied to her about his intentions, and now all of a sudden, we're starting to see the cracks in the armor because the family's under the impression that she's bringing him on scholarship to the States.
Is it like he feel happy that you will help me, to go to the US, to make a future there?
Okay, how dead does Debbie look on the inside on a scale of 1 to 10?
Someone that's going to be using you, that's going to take everything. How do you know he's not scamming you?
Debbie feels like right now is the perfect time to be transparent with his family about what the plan is. So she communicates to them that she brought all of her belongings to Morocco because she intends on staying in Morocco with Oussama. When Debbie says this, Oussama's sister appears to be devastated, and no wonder her English is so good. She's probably been watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians her whole life and dreamed about going to America, going to Disneyland. And now her dreams are shattered because she was going to hitch a ride with her brother after he used Debbie enough until he got his visa paperwork, and then he ditched her. I'm assuming he was going to pull the same move that Muhammad pulled on Danielle. Debbie then says to the audience that it's a huge red flag that Oussama communicated to his family that she's going to get him a visa and bring him to the United States because that's not the reality of the situation, and that's not something that was ever agreed between both parties.
I am surprised that Debbie and Oussama decided to live here in Morocco. هادشي انا اللي خايفه أسامة يتقصح شويه الحاشيه ما تقدرش ادابطا شويه مع المجتمع المغربي.
I actually agree with Oussama's sister here. This is Debbie's first time living outside of the country at age 67 years old. Obviously, the cost of living is cheaper in Morocco than the United States. However, Oussama and Debbie are both poets and artists. Not to mention that Debbie has her own business making jewelry and selling it. And a lot of the allure for buying her jewelry is the fact that she makes the jewelry and wears it, has been advertising it this entire season. My question for her would be, how are you going to run your business from Morocco? Who's going to take care of shipping and distribution and crafting the jewelry if not you?
زعما حنا ديما كنت تنقولوا نمشيو شحال ملي كنا صغار.
From the way that his sister's talking about this, it appears that it's always been their dream to leave Morocco.
قرار زعما الديسيجن خديتوه بجوج ولا
خذته هي الاولى عاد انا فكرت فيه واتفقت معاه من بعد.
Oussama right now is in a tricky situation, but he's playing it cool as a cucumber because he's already in the doghouse. He was caught lying to this woman multiple times. So right now, he's gonna agree and be on Debbie's side and say, no, our plan is to stay here in Morocco. But over time, he's gonna try and convince her to bring him to the United States.
Okay.
You want to come here to the States and eat at the Cracker Barrel and be a winner? Ah! Ah! You gotta earn it, Oussama! My neighbors probably hate me because
What's that noise?
We're sure that this was Oussama's plan from the get-go because there's no other way that his family would approve of him marrying this woman. Let's talk about how Oussama trolled himself because he would have a better quality of life staying in Morocco and not coming to the United States. If you don't want to get a job in Morocco, what makes you think that you're going to compete in one of the most competitive job markets in the world? Use your head, Sid. You're on one of the most watched TV shows in America. Those are all potential customers, the audience of the show. You can live in Morocco where it's relatively cheap and sell your artwork online to the fans of the show if they liked you, if you made a good first impression, which you didn't. Now the good news is, after this very loaded conversation with his family, later that day, Oussama shows Debbie around his family farm.
It's so beautiful.
Yes.
This is a painting.
I told you.
Debbie expresses to the audience her concerns about Oussama and his family until she stumbles upon a donkey.
You want to play with me? Come see Mama. Mama love you.
Okay, so funny enough, Debbie starts singing to the donkey.
Toora-loora, loora, toora-loora-lie, toora-loora.
Oussama just standing there with his hands out like, what the hell is going on? This is fucking haram. Debbie all of a sudden says she's overcome by this desire, nay, a need to ride the donkey. So Oussama preps the donkey to be ridden and he just throws a blanket over it, but he doesn't secure the base with a rope. And as you all are aware, you know, us experienced donkey riders know that you need to secure the base, otherwise the blanket moves and the rider will fall.
Okay, Oussama, slow down, please. I don't have a butt. God didn't give me a butt, Oussama.
This very well could be an assassination attempt. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I don't think he did on purpose. I just think he's a dumbass. Debbie laughs off the pain and says to Oussama, you did that on purpose, Oussama. And Oussama denies it, says he didn't do it on purpose, but we don't know if he did or not. Then the star-crossed lovers grab 2 seats, sit down, get their canvases out, and begin to paint the sunset. And it actually seems like a really romantic date.
I never like to be an old lady in my paintings. I'm always young in my paintings.
Can you make it quiet so I can think?
And Oussama, okay, I'll shut up. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum.
Debbie is so annoying for that. It reminds me of Shrek when him, Fiona, and Donkey were on the way to Far, Far Away, and he kept making that mouth popping sound.
Oh, could you not be yourself for 5 minutes?
What's your idea of what comes next for you and me?
Because it's not the right time to talk about plans now. It's
Well-
time for creating.
You can do both at the same time.
No, I can't. I have one mind, not two.
As we all know, Oussama's got a history of acting real kid-like when he doesn't get his way. Right now, your sugar mama's trying to ask you what the plan is because she uprooted her entire life from America to move to Morocco to be with you. He gets irritated at her for asking questions. When it's like, if you just answer the question, then she won't have to keep bringing it up.
We
Well,
come here just to ride the donkey and to paint, not to talk about the plans. Is that right?
no, because I need to talk about the
You
plan.
always talk about the plans every day. This is the day because I will paint, I'll talk about the plan. I will write, let's talk about the plan. I will go out, let's talk about the
Y'all see what I'm saying? He's getting irritated at her for wanting to talk about the plans when he's not giving her a clear outline or timeline for when things are happening. Dude's been caught both on and off the show for lying to Debbie about where they're living both short-term and long-term, so I'm sure she's confused and rightfully so. Debbie says to Oussama, when I talk about the future and needing security, you always kind of tell me you'll talk about it later. I don't want to push you at all, but I feel like I need to make plans. It's worth mentioning when she's saying this to Oussama, he has a very dismissive attitude. In fact, he's looking at his painting and not even making eye contact with her, which is very disrespectful. He then says it's okay, implying that she's wrong for bringing up this conversation. Perfectly natural for Debbie to want to know what the next chapter in her life is going to look like, especially because right now she's sussed out because she just learned that his entire family was under the impression that she's bringing their son to America. Oussama right now has big, moody teenager energy. He's not even making eye contact with Debbie. He's focusing on his painting that looks like it was drawn by a 3rd grader.
You said that I would come here and you would love me and take care of me and you would prove it. And now it's like you just kind of like, oh, shut up, Debbie. I don't want to talk to the hand.
But you
Right?
don't take a patient with me.
You think I'm not patient?
Yep. Because you want to do everything right here and right now.
Debbie's asking for the bare minimum right now, dog. An outline of what your future is going to look like should have been established before she moved to Morocco. Something we've all noticed about Oussama is anytime he doesn't get his way or he's not in control, he gets angry. And when Debbie tries to hold him accountable, he gets extra tilted.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't want you to do it right now. I just wanted you to sketch an outline of our future.
We just starting. I mean, I will not do everything in one day. Are you crazy? We will not do everything in one day. You are sick. You have like mental sickness or something.
You know what's really hurtful about him saying this to Debbie is Debbie struggled during her childhood because her mother suffered from mental illness. So for him to say this to her when he's fully aware of what her childhood was like, so below the belt. Debbie's taken aback that Oussama said this to her, and she communicates to him that he's acting real cold-blooded right now. Oussama then says, it's making me angry. I'm not angry by nature. It's making me feel hurt inside. Oh, we forgot it's all about you, Oussama. When you feel hurt or upset, it's okay for you to say hurtful things to your partner and then play the victim because you're a little baby boy. Also, hard to disagree with him saying he's not angry by nature. Every time something hasn't gone his way, he's lashed out. Like right now, for example, instead of taking accountability as a man, you would rather victimize yourself and make Debbie believe that she's the problem and not you. Our plan is you will come here and bring me to USA and I will go work there and we will start our life there. We can't guarantee the future here. This is our plan and I will from this day never change it. Nah, dude, that's your plan. Saying our plan is incredibly misleading scheme because it's a plan that Debbie never agreed to. It takes two to tango. He goes on to tell Debbie that if she can't accept this plan, then we can end all of this. So he puts an ultimatum on Debbie. If she doesn't bring him to the United States, their relationship is over. What a shocker this is for Debbie. She should have never put herself in this position with this obvious scammer. However, it is still really sad. This is 3 years of building something. Building a friendship, of talking to someone every day or every other day. Not to mention during the tell-all, Debbie told the audience that she spent thousands of dollars on Oussama over the 3 years they've been talking. She says that it was chump change to her, but even if it was chump change to her, thousands of dollars is a lot of money, especially in Morocco. So this is someone that, if anything, he should be more respectful to and devoted to. There's nothing more tilting than watching someone that bites the hand that feeds them. If you were honest and transparent about your intentions in this relationship from the get-go, I have no doubt in my mind with how understanding Debbie is, the result would have been different. Oussama then explains that he wants to move to the United States because their art is valuable, and in Morocco, art is not valuable. He's like the bubble boy. He thinks that he's talented in terms of art and poetry. Here in the United States, people study this in school. There are so many art majors in university. His poetry and his art are on a level where he can't even compete. He views his relationship with Debbie as his job. And instead of going this route, he could have easily set up shop on the streets of Morocco and painted for tourists, done portraits. He doesn't want to do any of that because he believes he's above that. Kind of reminds me of a lot of the kids I went to business school with that assumed they would be CEOs after graduating university. Like, you're so out of touch with reality. You start at the bottom if you can even land a job and then work your way up.
Can't guarantee my future there.
It's all about your future? All about your future?
Like I said in my last video, Oussama, a relationship is a place where you're supposed to give something, not take. It's not all about you.
Promised Debbie before that we will live in Rabat together. But for me, to be honest, what my plan was like going to the US.
When he was referring to our plan, I think he was talking about him and his sister because it seems like they both wanted to come to the United States. And do we have evidence that that is in fact his sister? Because it could be possible that that's the girl he was actually dating. What a plot twist that would be if that girl was actually his girlfriend and they were both trying to scam Debbie to get to the United States. This was the last straw for Debbie. She's not willing to compromise herself any longer and be lied to by this scaven rat bastard. So she breaks up with Oussama. She checks herself into a hotel, and in the next episode that we cover on this couple, we're going to talk about her last meeting with Oussama in Morocco, and then we're going to discuss extensively the tell-all. Debbie's son Julian comes out and gives Oussama a piece of his mind. Saw dudes, obviously it's a different day, hence the outfit change. There are a couple things I need to address because we are focusing right now on Debbie and Oussama's relationship, hence this 3-part series that we're making. However, part 1 and part 2 of the tell-all have already come out. And if you've watched the 90-Day Fiancé tell-all from this present season, there has never been a season that has shown more clearly the favoritism that the network shows to American cast members.
Kris is the giver, Jeymi is the taker, and I know it's very easy to manipulate someone that's suffered because they're looking for acceptance and love, and it's very easy for a predator to take advantage of Kris.
How out of touch is Debbie, a woman that is 67 years of age, that entered a relationship with a 24-year-old Moroccan man? He's younger than her son, yet she calls Jeymi a predator? Not only was Kris verbally and physically abusive with her partner Jeymi, she's also a dog water mother. Let's read this article together as a family. Why did 90 Day Fiancé star Kris's foster son Dane Warren get arrested? According to court records obtained by In Touch, the Alabama native son was arrested on April 28, 2022, and charged with 1 felony count of trafficking fentanyl and 1 felony count of possession of a controlled substance. At the time of the offense, Warren was 19 years old. If you're not following me already on Instagram, make sure you do that because I recently posted about the Jeymi and Kris situation on my Instagram. This is what I said. Kris, you are so lucky that the network shows favoritism towards the American cast members. Not only were you physically and verbally abusive to Jeymi, but you are also a dog water mother. You acted like a drug addict experiencing withdrawals the entire season, so the majority of the audience is curious where your son got his supply from. You also bailed him out after only 2 days in prison, clown. down. How is someone supposed to learn a lesson in only 2 dias? Ha 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 ha. Costed you a pretty penny, $51,000, but your entire segment, you made Jeymi feel bad about spending $150 more in rent monthly to get a great apartment in Bogota, Colombia. Then Kris had the audacity to stick Jeymi with the total cost of rent because of her irresponsible spending. Way to not take personal responsibility and honor your commitments.
A mí lo que me interesa es qué pasó con el dinero que tú me tenías que pagar de la renta. Yo sí tuve que pedir prestado. Yo todavía estoy pagando deudas de ese apartamento. Todavía estoy pagando prácticamente 300,000 pesos mensual.
As frustrating as it is, I'm really happy that we have this channel to talk about what really went down this season. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below on these couples. We got new merch available in our Your Wet store. If you want some one-on-one time with me, please order Cameo. I'm the #1 Cameo creator in the entire world. Super thankful y'all watch my content. Comment below, subscribe. Let's be friends. Follow me on Twitch and on Instagram right now.